But as we are making up our adventure, let us assume there is no blood. No compresses, no leeches, no wild gallops to drag the doctor from his breakfast. And so we listeners can leave the silky, treacherous Seine, and cross the rough woodlands and enter the path between the linden trees, and I, Olivier Jean-Baptiste de Clarel de Barfleur de Garmont, a noble of myopia, am free to speed like Mercury, while pointing out the blurry vegetable garden on the left, the smudgy watercolour of orchard on the right. Here is the ordure of the village road, across which I can go sailing, skidding, blind as a bat, through the open gates of the Château de Barfleur. Hello, Jacques. Hello, Gustave, Odile. I am home. On the right, just inside, is Papa's courthouse, where he conducts the marriages of young peasants, thus saving them military service and early death in Napoleon's army. It does not need to be said that we are not for Bonaparte, and my papa leaves the intrigues for others. We live a quiet life, he says. In Normandy, in exile, he also says. My mother says the same thing, but more bitterly. Only in our architecture might you glimpse signs of the powerful familial trauma. We live a quiet life, but our courtyard resembles a battlefield, its ancient austerity insulted by a sea of trenches, fortifications, red mud, white sand, grey flagstones, and 54 forsythias with their roots bound up in balls of Hessian. In order that the courtyard should reach its proper glory, the Austrian architect has been installed in the Blue Room with his drawing boards and pencils. You may glimpse this uppity creature as we pass. I have omitted mention of the most serious defect of my uncle's vehicle, the lack of steering. There are more faults besides, but who could really care? The two-wheeled Celerifer was one of those dazzling machines that are initially mocked for their impracticality, until, all in a great rush, like an Italian footman falling down a staircase, they arrive in front of us, unavoidably real and extraordinarily useful. The years before 1805, when I was first delivered to my mother's breast, constituted an age of inventions of great beauty and great terror, and I was very soon aware of all of this without knowing exactly what the beauty or the terror were. What I understood was drawn solely from what we call the symbolic aggregate, that is, the confluence of the secrets, the disturbing flavour of my mother's milk, my own breathing, the truly horrible and unrelenting lowing of the condemned cattle which, particularly on winter afternoons, at that hour when the servants have once more failed to light their lanterns, distressed me beyond belief. But hundreds of words have been spent, and it is surely time to enter that chateau, rolling quietly on our two wheels between two tall blue doors, where, having turned sharply right, we shall be catapulted along the entire length of the long, high gallery, travelling so fast that we will be shrieking and will have just sufficient time to notice, on the left, the conceited architect and his slender, fair-haired assistant. On the right, look quickly, are 6 high windows, each presenting the unsettling turmoil of the courtyard, and the gates, outside which the peasants and their beasts are constantly dropping straw and fecal matter. You might also observe, between each window, a portrait of a Garmont, or a Barfleur, or a Carey, a line which stretches so far back in time that should my father, in the darkest days of the Revolution, have attempted to burn all the letters and documents that would have linked him irrevocably to these noble privileges and perils, he would have seen his papers rise from the courtyard bonfire still alive. 400 years of history become like burning crows, lifted by wings of flame, a plague of them, rising into a cold turquoise sky I was not born to see. But today is bright and sunny. The long gallery is a racetrack, paved with marble, and we swish toward that low, dark door, the little oratory where Maman often spends her mornings praying. But my mother is not praying, so we must carry our machine to visit her.